Let's say you have a meeting with your city councillor this afternoon, perhaps, and you'd like to make yourself aware of the lobbying activities that your city councillor has been involved with. Let me show you how you could do that with GregoryAustinSmith.com. Let's start by doing a search on the word matlow. We'll enter that up here and we'll hit enter, and then we'll see some data on our screen. There's different types of data. The whole left side of the screen is showing lobbying data of some sort, and then there's other types of data on the right, but the tiles are mostly empty, meaning the app did not find any data about matlow, except here in political contributions. And I could expand this tile down and kind of scroll and see some political contributions directed towards Josh Matlow. Let's not talk about that right now. Let's just look at the lobbying data. So this tile here says lobby communications, and that's sort of the crux of lobbying. There's some column headings here: the date, the beneficiary of the lobbying, the public office holder. So we would expect to see the name Matlow under public office holder, but not exclusively his name, because if someone from his office met with a lobbyist, we would also expect to find that with the search we've just done. So the name of the public office holder, their title, if it's available to us in the City of Toronto lobbying database, branch data, that's not there, department, which is in this case usually Josh's ward, and then who the lobbyist was and who the firm is, if any, that the lobbyist worked for. So here's a whole bunch of data that we can kind of scroll down. There's a little ticker number here that will count up as we scroll down. More records will be gathered into our tile here. Looks like we're going to stop at 560 records. So that's how many lobbying records are found when we search the word matlow. In this data, we can click on a row, and this will pop up. This little window will pop up telling us more about the particulars of that lobbying activity. In this case, the beneficiary was Airbnb, Josh Matlow, blah, 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 and here's the particulars. Now, of course, many times when corporations are lobbying, they register the lobby against all the public office holders they possibly can. So in this case, there might be the exact same particulars for this same beneficiary registered against all the city councillors. Just because Josh Matlow's indicated here as someone with whom the lobbyist had communicated doesn't necessarily mean that Josh Matlow has any idea who this person is, because they might have just been registered and been sent some paperwork. So that's a caveat. Anyway, it can get kind of interesting to see who Josh Matlow has been lobbied by, and this is rows of data. But what's really interesting, I think, is to visualize the data. So let's click this button here that says visualize, and this will act on our 560 rows of data. I'll click visualize, and here we go. Now you need to read what it says down here in the bottom right of the screen to know what's on your screen and how to use this visualization, but I'll just kind of ramble on and quickly tell you. I'm just going to scroll my mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to click and drag to move around the visualization. The real kicker is up here in the upper left, where you can change the visualization. So there's different columns of data as it were in this visualization, and I can decide which of those columns of data I would like to have on my screen at this moment. So if I unclick jurisdiction and just leave beneficiary, I see circles on my screen that represent the beneficiaries of the lobbying activity registered against Josh Matlow. I could, for instance, click firm and then change my sort order, put firm above beneficiary, and I'll see the names of consulting firms that have registered lobbies against Josh Matlow, and so on. Department, well, it's probably all going to be Josh Matlow. Let's put that at the top and see what we see. So there's his ward showing like as a department. Depending how the data was entered, we see here that Josh Matlow himself is also a department. What I'm doing is dragging the circles, which does what we call reheat the visualization. It just kind of makes the circles try and sort themselves out, as it were. Anyway, all that to say, here is some lobbying data registered against Josh Matlow. Oh, I should say you can get to the individual particulars by clicking on the outermost circles, which goes back to that same sort of zoom in window we saw on the other screen. Again, this is explained a little bit right here in the lower right. If I want to go back to my main screen, I'll hit back to main. Here I am back here where we did the search on matlow. If there's a particular issue, for instance, I'd like to search on, I could also do that here, because this search window will drill right down into the particulars of the lobbying registration. Let's try that in a sec. For example, let's search the word Walmer, as in Walmer Road. So I get some rows of lobbying data. It looks like there's only 25. And again, I can scroll through them or click on them and read the particulars. And just randomly clicked on one there. The public office holder was this person. I'm going to guess someone. Ooh, I don't know who that is. Oh, Department Counselor Matlow. So someone who works in Matlow's office. And the particulars are 429 Walmer Road, zoning bylaw, blah, blah, blah. So that was talked about on that date. Again, I could visualize the data that's on my screen by clicking the Visualize button. And I'll zoom in. Let's add in Department, Public Office Holder. Jurisdiction is Toronto, so I'm going to turn that off. Beneficiary, that is interesting. Stafford Developments, Stafford Walmer Inc. Probably the same company, TAS. This might be something completely different that just happened to have the word Walmer in it. Let's click on one of the outermost circles. Somewhere else down, lower down on Walmer Road looks like this lobby was about. Okay, so that's just some lobbying data registered at the City of Toronto that has the word Walmer in it. Let's go back to the main page, and so on and so forth. So we could search words like development or redevelopment. We could put addresses of properties in case those addresses are named in the or referred to in the particulars of the lobby registration, and so on. So now you can get ready for your meeting with your counselor.